Welcome back to the Virtual Compound. Summer vacation may be over, but today we're getting together to talk about friends and friendship. Ready? I'm Katie. It is currently 7:15 on Monday in Maryland.
I'm Lacey. It is
I don't know whose turn it is. It won't load. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
It's okay. I'm Lacey. It's 4:15 on Monday in California.
I'm Amelia. It is 8:15 Tuesday morning in Okinawa, Japan.
Okay, hold on. So as Katie said, we're talking about friendship today, our opinions on it, how the military changes it, how it affects our children with military career and life changes. And we had this whole episode recorded yesterday, but we didn't actually get it recorded. So
Only my voice was recorded through the whole thing. And well, that's really exciting to hear. No, it's really not. I actually get sick of hearing my own voice when I'm editing sometimes. So I'm pretty sure nobody else would want to hear an entire episode of only my reactions.
a one-sided conversation.
It'd be pretty funny though to guess like what we're talking about.
Right? It would be really funny with like axe throwing and what was that? Oh, the stories with the kids and
Yeah.
talking about the teenagers who were like bouncing around upstairs over my head at the time. Yeah, it would have been really entertaining. Maybe we'll do little clips randomly and be like, what do you think that they were talking about? But as Lacey said, we're going to talk about friends, and that's how this goes, right? So our friendship is unique and it lasts from through time and lots of distance, and apparently having to redo episodes and, and littles who want to have their part in it too.
It's so it's so weird that like every time we do our intro that like I'm in the future
Right.
to me. But also like from Lacey, because I guess she's the closest to me physically. It still is like an ocean,
Mm-hmm.
it's like apart.
Yeah.
And that's so much. What is it, like 13 hours on the plane?
Well, I guess it depends on where you're landing because if you go over like the top of the world, it was
Yeah.
only it was 11 hours to New York City. But
Yeah.
if you go to like Atlanta, it's 15 hours. So it
Yes.
depends on, but I think you're right. I think even Seattle being closer was 12. So to
Yeah.
get down to California is probably more. So yeah, I know.
And like on a plane going several hundred miles an hour.
Mhm. Yeah, like, and I always think back when I'm listening to books or different things, and I was listening to the Great Library series that Lacey recommended recently, and they, even though it's set in 2025, they are talking about going between countries and they have to do them by ship. And they're like talking about their friends in that and like trying to get to their friends. I'm like, how long would it take me to get to Amelia right now? Like, because I'm on the East Coast. So not only like, which routes am I going to go if I'm doing it strictly by water? Like, do I got to go down and through Panama and like across or go the other way?
Several
Like
months.
several months. I would love you, and I do love you so much, but I would rather do it with modern carnival or not carnival, modern cruise ships than like sailboats of olden days.
Oh, I don't love either of you enough to sail.
To sail? No, I don't think I could do that.
I got so like I'm fairly convinced Japanese taxi drivers are like actually trying to kill us all.
It's entirely possible. I always kept my eyes closed.
And this is like after living here 5 years, and I'm not like and I've taken a taxi like several places in Japan. I'm pretty sure that they're all trying to kill us.
It's
But
possible.
I had to take a taxi yesterday. Long story, doesn't matter. I was motion sick for like, and taxis in Japan don't keep they don't really do AC.
Right.
Um, I was motion sick like for probably the next 45 minutes
Ugh.
after the taxi ride. And um my mother-in-law is here and Clara and Josh are like switching off nights to stay at the hotel
Oh
with
yeah.
her so they can get like one-on-one time with her.
Yeah.
Um and I pulled up to get them and Clara came out and she had like a soda in her hand. Um and uh I was like, give it to me.
I need that right now.
I'm gonna die. And and she was like, Mom, I was like, I will literally buy you like 12 more of these.
Right. I just need this
Dumb.
right now.
I'm gonna
Aw.
throw up. I'm gonna die. And I didn't, but I felt very ill and remembered this is why I avoid Japanese taxis at all costs.
Yes. Yeah.
And taxis and any type of transportation where I am not driving
Yeah.
in general.
So then you won't be teaching your kids how to drive.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I'm like almost 100% sure that I'm gonna have to suck it up and do it. But like in a perfect world, we're like on or near the compound by then, and I can like give them to another human that's not me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I'm down with. I mean, sort of. My dad started teaching Zoe how to drive he's got the what we call the burp, the BRP, I think is what it is, but we just call it the burp. It's basically like a mule or a gator,
Hmm.
but slightly more street friendly. And but she's allowed to drive it because it isn't officially street friendly, so she can take the like through the um pastures and stuff.
oh yeah.
And
No, I'm planning on like pawning it off on Emma or Brody,
okay.
to be honest.
Not Emma.
No.
I
Okay.
love her. She always goes the speed limit, but her stops are too harsh and her
Oh.
turns a little too tight. And then Brody's got the faster turns. And then, he likes the speed, but he's a little bit more cautious, but he also is a little bit less aware. It's not his fault today that he almost hit a guy, two different people, because they actually were in the wrong. The poor kid is just like, Mom, I'm like, I know it's not your fault, but you really have to be aware of these things because he
Right.
gets his license this week. All knock on wood, he's got to go do the live drive test. But anyway, like
But I
he's
mean,
a good
this will
driver.
be like so far in the future. You know what I mean? Like this,
Yeah.
Yeah,
this is we're talking like 5 years until Josh
yeah,
has his permit.
yeah.
So
Depending on where you are, yeah.
yeah, so I'm really planning on pawning it off on someone else because, like, let's all be honest, Sam is not teaching these children to drive. So
Jeremy's really good. He actually started teaching Emma before we came to Japan. He's pretty patient with them, but I'm better with Bro just because Bro and Jeremy's personalities are just like different.
Yeah. Well,
It's
Wyatt and I
fine.
were telling, I mean, we're a little off here, but Wyatt and I were telling Zoe that we kind of learned how to drive from riding lawnmowers. And
Yeah. No, I
that
did.
that's how I started.
Yeah. I had a riding lawnmower that my dad took the deck off of and I just like drove it around the farm.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah.
my parents didn't let me drive.
Mm. Well, you were kind of in a
They
bigger
hire you a car service?
No, I did like driver's ed and drove with those people, and I had my permit for
Mhm.
like the mandatory 6 months,
Mhm.
and I literally for 6 months did not get behind the wheel,
Oh my goodness.
and then took
That's
my driver's
crazy.
test because my parents are like, "You're not driving our cars,"
Yeah.
and
See,
then I took my driver's test and passed, and then I got a car and I drove. And my parents were like, "You're not very good at this."
What do you think?
I've
That's
driven a car
hilarious.
3 times in my life.
You know what though? In the way of like friends and driving, I have been your passenger when I could not drive because my leg was in a
Oh,
permanent.
your leg was in the thing. Yes.
Yes, and I was in a state of permanent extension for 6 weeks, and so Amelia took me around. But between you and Miranda, I love you, but between you and Miranda, I'll take you as a driver because Miranda actually had dents all over her car from random things in Japan that she would be like, "Oh, whoops, forgot how close that was when turning this direction." Or
Uh,
I was like, "No." I mean, I never felt like I was in danger for my life or anything, but I was definitely in danger for the dents on the car for sure. But Amelia, I never felt that way with you, so
Oh, thanks.
you're welcome. that.
Well, sorry, I keep getting these pop-ups and like I haven't done anything on my computer and I get these like McAfee warning and I'm like, how do I get it off? So I was Googling that. So I was like partially checked out. So, I'm partially checked out of the conversation now and then I disappear initially because the baby. Okay. Anyway, we'll just bring it back to like our friendship and the different dynamics. I mean, obviously, Amelia doesn't love anyone enough to get on a sailboat, which I'm very grateful that we can travel without those.
Yes.
But having friendships like this, and we've said this in previous episodes that we trauma bonded, and we did have a lot of stress and a lot of things going on in our lives that caused us to get close very quickly and rely on each other outside of the military spouse thing, which is another cohesion element anyway. And then the addition of our husbands all being in the same field, so we have that understanding, and then the understanding of like what it takes and everything that you deal with in the behind the scenes of a dance studio, that you have another entity controlling your general rules and what's allowed, and then other people's expectations, like all of that piled on. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's one of like the very like core elements of what bonded us in our friendship. And that's, I mean, this is rare. Like I said yesterday, that didn't record. Coming back to an area where I've already lived, I had friends here for 5 years, saw them all the time. We hung out. But now that I'm not, when I moved away for 3 years and I wasn't up there, we didn't talk. Now that I'm not up there, we barely talk. But it's not that we're not friends. It's just for most people, out of sight, out of mind. I was
Mm-hmm.
talking about Sarah, our other one of our dance moms from Japan. They had come out here to California for a little bit and we were visiting. And she's like, it's not that I don't love people and I want them to know what's going on in their life and we're not friends, but they're not in my proximity and my community that I can think to check on them as often as I'd like to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so important that like as an adult, and our kids have learned this at a very early age, that we move a lot and we make a lot of friends, and some friends are for a season and some friends are permanent, but it's okay if you grow apart, but you can still pick up where you left off. And I think that's kind of an ideal friendship. Like our friendship to talk every day is really unique
Mm-hmm.
because it's been a year or 2 year. I've been gone a year, you've been gone 2 years.
Yeah.
That's a really like long period of time that you usually distance and like talk less frequently by now.
Yeah. I mean, I've
So
for sure, just in this season of life, of the military life, there are I have friends that I will always be able to pick back up from our very first duty station. Um, well, one in particular from our very first schooling, that her daughter is currently here right now. Like, we have figured out how, and her oldest daughter and Zoe are best friends, and they did their own interview together in another episode in April. And we have always made a point of like catching up, and but we've been lucky that we have been no more than 6 hours from each other, which is a good amount of time, but no more than 6 hours from each other, and then we moved all the way to the other side of the world. So that's a
yeah,
very unique situation for our our lifestyle. But then I have other friends from our first true like fleet duty station that I will always feel that I can go and talk to them, but they're now out of the military, so there's no chance in us living together around
yeah,
each other again. And we do more than just react to each other's messages. We'll send messages now and then and check up when, often not until something pops up on Facebook and we're like, right, I should check on them or I should tell them whatever.
yeah,
Um, but they have created their new core group, and we were really close while we were there, and we could still fall back in and have fun and go on a girls' book weekend or something because that was the first book group that I was in. But
mm-hmm.
um, you know, yeah, we're just that is a little different, and we have not kept up like the three of us have kept up. And all together, I have five that I keep up with, and like legitimately, I have five people I keep up with, and their families,
Same.
But
Yeah,
in the way of that, that's just five, and
yeah,
that's how it goes. And that has become my life. I have people from high school, sure, but I don't actually keep up with any of them.
same. Yeah. And I mean, well, Amelia, you moved twice when you were younger, not counting like going away to school, or just once? Twice.
There you go.
Twice.
Say that again.
That took like it took like so long to unmute. It was like thinking about it. Twice.
Okay. And so,
Well, yeah.
do you have a friend from childhood that you're still close with?
No.
Yeah. And see, I think that's typical. And I was, Emma's graduation ago, well, I guess it was over a week ago now. It was like 2 weeks ago. She was the only kid, we homeschooled and it was with the charter. So like she didn't know anyone in her graduating class there. But I felt bad in that moment, like, man, she doesn't know anybody and she doesn't have that moment of like, we did it. But at the same time, I don't talk to anybody and I had people that I graduated with and like that's okay. She has people that she's really close to and she's known for 9, years or plus or whatever and she has those strong bonds that have lasted a move around the world and back. So, I think that that's one thing about the military lifestyle that we all kind of like accept begrudgingly, but really ultimately it's not that big of a loss because you always grow distant because you become a completely different person once you enter the world.
Yeah.
You enter college and you make new friends and they wouldn't necessarily be friends with your high school friends or elementary friends. And then you join the military and then you are open up to a whole new demographic across the board of different people and different lifestyles. Like, I don't know. I just think that it's not as bad as we think it is when we really look at it as far as the friendship thing goes.
Yeah. I think that's true.
I think the kids become resilient through this,
Yeah.
like through moving and stuff, and able to make all like. I think there's two types of like military kid friendships, and there's the ones that are like enduring and for years and years for our kids, and then
Mhm.
I think there's the ones that are like they're their really great friend for like a season, and maybe
Yeah.
they, as they get older, they'll have Instagram and social media and whatever, and they'll be able to like keep in touch with, but like not necessarily be like super close with forever. But I think the military kids are able to like find their people and hang on to them through like space and distance, kind of like
Yeah.
spouses, right? And then
Yeah.
I said this when we didn't record, but
I'm sorry.
it
It's not
it's
your
okay, it's
fault.
not your
I
fault.
know. I actually blame it on Wyatt because he reset everything so he could do gaming stuff when some people were over, and then yeah, it's all his fault. Nah.
It's all his fault. We'll blame Wyatt. It's fine.
But like, I mean, we all military people affiliated go through this where it's like you never live where your family lives, and if you do, you're incredibly lucky. But you you come to see your family or go back to your hometown or close-ish, and people are like, "Oh, hey, so glad you're back. Um, could you drive like 3 hours to where I live now to come see me because I don't really have time to
Yeah.
come see you." And like our family does it and our friends does it, do it, and then a military spouse is like, "You're within 4 hours of me. I'll I'll be there. Like
Right.
I'm driving to
Yeah.
And I think that shows our kids like what real friends and like what real friendship is,
Yeah.
and they're able to kind of have that. Like I have two really close friends from college still. One, funnily enough, lives in Japan, not military related.
The one
And
you
the
went
other,
to Taylor Swift with, right?
yes, and the other
Yeah.
lives in Canada, but she's actually my friend from high school.
Look at you
Um,
having like friends literally all over the world.
yes, that it's random. Again, not military, but um, yeah, I think the benefit of this lifestyle is our kids are able to like be like, "You are my person
Hmm.
Yeah.
forever." Sorry.
Yeah.
We're like, "You're my person for right now, and we'll be friendly forever." But like, you're my person for now, and that's cool.
That's cool.
Like Clara and Wexy.
And Wexy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wexy.
Wex.
I don't know if we're gonna part them.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I think that I don't know about on Claire's end. Lexi's current friend is stand-in. She loves people. She loves friends. She loves to make friends. She will tell somebody she is shy, but as Lacey has very much pointed out, she is not shy.
No.
And she lies about that. You liar. But she wants to have friends, but I don't think that anything can compare to Clara. Like,
Yeah. Well,
not even a little
nothing
bit.
compares to Clara. Clara's unique. And their
Clara's
bond is again
amazing.
unique.
Yes.
Yes. But their bond is unique again because they bonded at such a critical time.
Yeah, they
And
did.
so I think that has a lot to do with it. I mean, the same thing with Zoe and her best friend. I mean, that was a critical time in both of your lives that you were
Hmm.
pregnant when you met. You were both due around the same time. You were going through the same situation with school and your husband's. So of course you're going to bond, and then the girls, being so close in age,
Yeah.
growing up so much together and then moving like they did, like of course those bonds are going to last
Yeah.
forever because you were in, the place and the time for it to work. So
Yeah.
I think that that's a really unique
Well, and
experience too.
up until we got back from Japan, really. I mean, a little bit before, but really up until we got back from Japan, I would say that their four kids were more family to my kids simply because we had been there since all but one of them was born in some manner and had seen all of them from infancy, and they had been there when Lexi was born. And then we would spend holidays together if we couldn't get home because we were within driving distance. And then,
Hmm.
the girls and I went down there for when they were living about 6 hours away when Wyatt deployed for the first time, and we couldn't get home for Thanksgiving. So we went down and spent it with her entire extended family. And
Aw.
I mean, I had already met a good chunk of them, excuse me,
Hmm.
because of she used to run a seasonal consignment sale, and so we had worked on stuff together, and we just popped in like they were family, all the way around. And yes, I did not mess up that word, family, everybody. That's part of the virtual compound, um, not glossary. Yeah, glossary. Is that the right word?
Sure.
Dictionary? No,
Dictionary?
glossary makes more sense. Vocabulary? Do
Yeah,
we
there
make?
you
I don't.
go.
There we go. Vocabulary. We'll go with
What's
that.
your excuse? I haven't had enough coffee.
I stopped homeschooling. I I have had 13-year-olds in my house for almost 48 hours. That's my excuse.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. And I just spent 6 hours at the mall with them. There's your friend thing. So we come here and Zoe, kids and friends, it took Zoe probably 6 months to really try to like make friends. And the two friends she became closest with at school happened to be the only two other like military kids. And they have all been very close. They haven't moved, each of them haven't moved quite as much, but
Yeah.
they all are much more understanding. So I had four military kids at the house, and we spent 6 hours at the mall today. Yeah. Honestly, it
That
was good.
sounds fun.
I'll send you the pictures of what they did because they were like, all right, we're gonna walk into American Eagle. You have 5 minutes to get the craziest outfit. And
Oh, cute.
and then we went into Gap and I gave them um, summer skate park. You'll be pretty impressed with that one. I was like, oh, this is so throwback because all of this stuff would actually have like worked. But
That's funny.
that was their
Yeah.
resilience and friendship today.
Oh, that's
Can I
awesome.
just like circling back?
Yeah.
What is happening? And why are the 2000s back and not the cute ones? Like
I
the
know.
worst, most awful, just like heinous things that like as 12-year-olds we were like, we look so cute.
It was like so adorable.
And we did not. Like we did not.
I did
And
a
we
double take like driving yesterday. There was a Palm Squad doing a car wash or garage sale, something. Black tube tops, black bell bottom, like legging pants, and like the thick black shoes, like the comfy ones with the
yes,
single
Yeah.
strap. And I
yes.
was like, oh,
No,
what year is it?
when I walked into American Eagle, they had the tube top, the flip over tube tops that they
Yes.
had.
Oh,
Like I was like, "Oh my gosh." I owned one of those. They're not in the same
Forgot
colors,
about
not all of them.
those.
And they're coming back out with the like super graphic zip up hoodies that had the like
Yes,
cutesy things on the back of them. I was like, oh my gosh,
Clara
you are
from
exactly the
H&M.
age that I was when this stuff started coming out.
Clara from H&M got a velour tracksuit.
Does it say juicy on the butt?
Is it
No,
pink?
it is,
Is it pink?
hers is white, and her
Oh.
Oh,
friend that
that's
she
so
got matching with is pink.
Oh, that's
Aw.
cute though. Like white, that's not bad.
Did,
Okay,
Like if it's bubblegum pink, it's like
does she have a
is
handbag
it
though?
is it adorable? Absolutely, because they're 7.
That's true.
yes.
But like
I'll agree with you on that one.
we wore that as like a for real outfit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So okay, that's my sidebar. Sorry, I
No,
just so many things in H&M that I was like,
but I feel like it all applies though too, because that's stuff that we weren't friends at the time, and yet we all lived through it, so we can all like commiserate. And now my children, are like our children, and like my 13-year-old and her other 13-year-old friends put on the things. I was like, oh, one of them basically had the top that Britney Spears wore with Justin Timberlake, like the meshed up
The
denim.
denim.
Yeah, I was like, I saw her put it on. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, wait till I send that to you. So,
That's awesome.
I'm
yeah,
sort of excited that like 90s mom stuff is coming back though, because that crap is comfortable.
that's true.
Yeah.
Although I don't,
Like,
I really like the dresses that are popular right now. They're really
yeah,
cute and comfy.
yeah,
yeah,
And
that's
they have
me.
pockets.
they have
Yeah.
pockets. That's a big
It's the
thing.
comfort for me. Like, I'm down. And then the Keds with everything, sneakers with everything. Heck
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. But that's like score like late 80s, early 90s. The
Mhm.
millennial stuff that like these kids are wearing, I'm like, y'all, we did it. We looked not good. And we
Learn
don't have
from the
like
mistakes.
enduring evidence, right?
Yeah.
Like I could get rid of all of the evidence of my fashion like faux pas from I literally could get rid of them by like burning them in a fire.
Yeah.
Yours
Yep.
are online.
Forever. Yeah.
Think about that. Think about that before you wear the weird jean thing.
Oh no.
Okay?
Yeah, but as soon
Yeah,
as they
but
do,
they're
I'm
like,
taking
it's
all the
cute, it's
pictures.
fashion. Yeah, oh yeah. No, they have no concept. It's fine. But
It's
no,
fine.
well, and like the fashion thing goes back to like the friend. We talked about this yesterday. Like even our kids will do things for our friends that they won't do for us. Abby
Yes.
wouldn't be my Barbie doll when I wanted her to try on the 90s swimsuit, but she'll be Amelia's Barbie doll when she sends her all the cute whatever. It's like, oh, yes, she sent me something. It's pretty. Is it my favorite? Maybe not, but Amelia sent it. So I love it.
And it'll be my favorite now.
Yeah. Now, if you had bought me this, I wouldn't love it.
No. No. All of the
But
leotards
I
that
think that's
Amelia
awesome.
has purchased, either to let Zoe pick out on her own or just to have given her, are the ones that she wears all the time. Not
Mhm.
any of the ones that like I am with her and I let her choose them or like
Yeah.
whatever. No, none of that. Even that year that you went home for Christmas and you came back with like a suitcase full of leotards
Yes.
for her and Lexi, those were the ones she wore all the time. Not the ones that I had like picked out. Not like picked out for her kind
She
of thing,
picked out.
but
Yeah.
like she picked out with me. No, that didn't matter. They came from Amelia.
Well, and I think that's just because it's a special thing. Like obviously, Josh and Clara have junk food. You guys go out and do fun things, but it's a little bit different when I send them Pop Tarts.
And I
Yes.
send them gum. Forbidden
Yeah,
gum.
like yeah.
The forbidden
No.
fruit.
Mm-hmm.
No, it is. It's it's like their special thing. And the day is coming. I can see it approaching when they're like, I'm not wearing that. And then one of y'all could send them the exact same thing and they'd be like, this is cool.
In that case, just do kind of this. Send us the picture of whatever it is, and then we will actually send it.
Well, you both have like older children than me, you know? So like Josh came down the other day and he had on the California beanie that Brody got him. And it is like 95 degrees here. And he has a California beanie and an Okinawa Billabong shirt and these little shorts on and his checkered Vans to match Emma. And he's like, I look like Brody today. I'm not changing my outfit. And I was like, you do? And I'm
That's
glad
adorable.
Brody like didn't do weird things that I didn't like sag his pants or like dress like a Nathan Pope. for lack of a
I
better
make
term.
him poop. I love that.
I think I'm gonna have like a much harder time like reconciling his outfit choices if I was like, yeah, and Brody dresses like a weirdo.
Yeah.
Like if he wore like the sweatpants and the sweatshirts and like
Yes.
dressed like bum. Yeah, I'm not into the
Like a
pajama look.
bum.
Like, yeah, jeans and a t-shirt is pretty much what I always wore, and I'm grateful for that because it's pretty consistent. And then my kids have kind of done the same thing, so it's not like they have anything really.
The
Emma had a
power.
little bit of a homeless phase, so she has like some clothes to be ashamed of because thrifting is a teen girl,
Yeah.
but
But the power of
Homeless
friendships
face.
though too.
That's hilarious.
I know,
I
right?
love that. Well, I think it's cool that like, my I don't know, people that I know, the people that stayed in their hometown or like didn't do this thing where you pick up and like move your whole life 8,000 times.
Right.
yeah,
Their friends are all, I mean, not that we're like that many years apart or anything like that, but their friends are like literally all like their age. You know what I mean?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah,
everyone has kids about the same age. And like
yep.
in the military, you have friends that are like so many years older than you and younger than you and your age and all this stuff. And it doesn't matter so much. If you connect with someone, you connect with them, and that's great. And it's not like, oh, well, we're in kind of different life places. We're all in the same life place because our spouse is in the military and we have to make friends where we make friends. I still hate the bloom where you're planted. But because like I'm not gonna bloom here, okay? I'm gonna like struggle to survive.
Well, but I mean, you're
Uh,
surviving where you're planted, I guess. Then in
yes,
that case,
I'm not blooming, I'm surviving. But you make friends no matter what life stage and whatever. And I think that's really a cool thing for your friends to see as well. Or not your friends, your kids.
Your kids.
Sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
Clearly, coffee hasn't hit. Your kids to see as well because, like, our kids see us being friends with people who have, like, infants
mm-hmm.
and no
Mhm.
kids their age. And they kind of become the, like, kid watcher, or, like, they learn, like, Claire's never going to have a younger sibling.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But a lot of our friends have little babies, and so she gets to experience kind of that like older sibling role with our friends. And Josh, he kind of typically finds himself smack in the middle of everybody. And I don't know what was in the water or like who got irradiated by like whatever military vehicles they were around, but for some reason all of our friends have girls his age.
Well, look at me. I have one boy, and
Yes.
so the guys field is very like
Yeah.
high propensity for females, and
Yeah.
that could be the radiation thing, which I mean there could be something to that, but it's also the stress levels. So
Yeah.
the higher stress level, the more likely you are to have a girl.
I also
Well, but
think that,
so he has to learn to play with
Yeah.
girls, like, and not, and I think the girls also, they can't, because like, I think girls that are not moving around and not like this lifestyle, they're like, well, I think divide a lot more. I think military kids are like, we're gonna do this. Girls, boys, whatever. We're gonna be friends and we're gonna play. Like, our two friends here that are really good friends. Everyone missed this story, and I will not be recounting it. But the two other members of Rose Massage.
yes. It's so great, but yeah, it'll stay. It'll stay in yesterday.
They have girls that are Josh's age, almost exactly, and those three play so well together. And the three little girls, all play, but these two girls and Josh, they do Just Dance and they do video games and they play board games together, and it doesn't matter that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really cool to see that friendship blossom. And I'm sure Josh like would, if someone was like, oh, well, I could turn, whoever into a boy or like magically make a boy appear your own age, he'd be like, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I will take that option. But, he still is happy and excited. And it also like the friendship we have, right? I've never left my children ever for like more than 2 or 3 days with my family. And then when I took all the dancers to YAGP,
Yeah,
and
that was like
stuff,
5 days.
leave didn't get approved and all this stuff. I was like, well, Lacey, looks like you have Josh all day. Have fun.
Right.
And he was awesome. We had a great time.
I mean, I don't know what he did, but Sam dropped him off at who knows what godforsaken time at your house and then picked him up. I'm not sure when. I don't know what happened, but it's like I knew that he would be alive and like well behaved when I got back and not like I just kind of let this kid run free. I fed him. You
Well,
know?
and that goes to like that's and we're kind of like going all over the place today, but that's fine. But I mean, I said this yesterday and I am pretty open with my like obviously like I'm the older one here. I'm much older than y'all. Well, I
Shh.
guess like 4 and 6 years or something, which is fine. I don't think that's that big of a deal.
No.
That's not
6
true.
years
Never
older
mind.
than me.
Well, I think 6 years older than Katie. Maybe I don't know.
No.
4
I'm
and
No.
I don't know.
I'm the middle. I'm the middle child.
Are
I'm
you?
36.
I'm 37.
Oh, so oh okay. I don't know why I thought
I'll be
y'all.
38 this year.
I was like Katie's like 34.
No, I'm the middle child, but thanks
Okay.
if you think I look
Yeah.
younger. Yeah.
Like,
I'm the
I don't.
baby of the family,
Yeah.
and I think that I fall into that role very well.
Perfectly. But and so like being a little bit older, I have gotten to the point in my life where um I'm trying to be nice about this, but I'm not nice anymore and I just do what I want and I don't care and I'm becoming an old lady and I'm loving it. I saw a thing yesterday and it was like in your 20s like you go out and explore the world and learn things. In your 30s you unlearn those things. In the 40s you just really enjoy life and like start to thrive. What is that? Oh, okay. I thought it was chocolate. The blackberry? Okay. Um, it looked like a really dark chocolate brownie because she had one last night, and I was like, "How did you smuggle this home without me knowing?" Um, but so I've gotten to the point where I'm being honest. So I'm just gonna say it outright. I can't be friends with people if I can't stand their kids.
Mm,
And that is a direct reflection of parenting. So like the really like the let your kids run wild and go crazy, like that's fine for you. I just like have a really hard time being around those kids.
yeah.
And like even if Josh is like if he's having a moment or he's being wild and crazy or he and Claire are fighting, like yeah, that's kind of crazy and most people would be like, "Oh, that's going to set Lacey off and she's going to go distance." But no, because I can logically talk to those kids and understand and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is what was happening." And they're like, "Oh yeah." And then they literally take the conversation, they listen, and then they either like you redirect and they're totally fine. But I've definitely broken off friendships with people because like I can't be around their kids. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just think that it's all about finding your people and sometimes we're like similar and we get along and we're different enough but like our ideas are similar that like we can tolerate the differences or the different styles of parenting and like it's fine. But if the kid is crazy, I really can't be friends with the parent because I like discipline and I like order.
Yeah. But
As
I
much of
mean,
an like artistic person that I am, like I have to have order.
I can guarantee you people have broken off, maybe not friendships, but potential friendships with me for the same reason, or with any of us,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm either not crunchy enough, or maybe I'm too crunchy, or I'm too strict, or not strict enough. Like, and
Oh
it
yeah.
happens. Like, in life,
Yeah.
you fill people, or you fill your life with those who are alike. It's not always good to have only people who are just like you because you don't want a whole bunch of yes men. But at the same time, you also need to have comfort in those around you. And if it brings you
Yeah.
discomfort, it's not always, some discomfort is
Sure.
fine. I mean, that's how you grow. You never grow with it. Just like
Yeah.
working out. Amelia hates to hear this. Just like working out, you have to be uncomfortable in order to grow. And I think that all relationships are like that too. There has to be a
I
level of
agree.
discomfort. What?
Yeah. Well, and like
Fear
you
not.
are
Fear not what?
I'm uncomfortable the whole time I work out. The entire time, mentally, physically, emotionally, the whole
all
thing,
discomfort.
all discomfort.
yeah, but like you become like the 5 people you spend the most time around. And so I think that that's like something else like we maybe even subconsciously, some people consciously do when we, get friendships or we start to work on those or find the people because we want to improve and that's always the goal. So like people might try to attach themselves to you, but you might have like different objectives and goals in life, or you might just like be very different people. And I don't think there's anything wrong with like being friendly, but it's just not, you're going to walk, different paths.
Yeah.
I had one girl when we were in Okinawa the first time. I don't remember how we started talking, but she later told me, she was like, you know what, I was watching you play. It was Charlotte at the time, she was like a year old. She's like, I was watching you play with your daughter and you weren't on your phone or talking like the other moms, and I was just like, yeah, that's a chick I can be friends with. And it's because like I've always prioritized my kids,
Hmm.
sometimes maybe to my detriment or like my social detriment. I mean, I have plenty of friends, but I also am a very, like, I'm very much like a man in my friendships, and that I cannot have friendships with people who require a lot from me, because everything I have to give, I give to my family. And then, it's not that I don't care about people. I have a priority and I'm raising people. But I think that also like explains the drift, and like you have friends for a season. Like you might have friends that you're very good friends with before you have kids, and then you drift because you're in different
Hmm.
like phases of life. And that's totally okay. And the drift is kind of the same thing. It's not that I care about you less. I just like have these priorities that are set in my life. And it's not that you're not a priority. It's just that like this is a greater priority. And it's
Hmm.
not that I don't care about you. I do. I wish nothing but good for you. It's just like that's not me. I
Yeah.
think that's totally okay.
Yeah, and I think
What,
I was
what?
gonna say that all sound very much like the drift. Like there's the drift in physical proximity, but then you have the other drift of children are a different age and one is young and one starts getting into activities, or you decide to go back to work or whatever. And it's not bad because when you go back to work, you're going to make new friends. When your kids start their activities, you're going to probably meet parents there and make new friends. And it's an
And
ever
they're the people that you're going to see all the time.
right.
So of course you're going to get closer. And I think that's completely
Yeah, I mean,
okay
it's
and valid.
with teaching the kids, like it's a good thing for them to see that the drift is natural,
Yeah.
but the drift is not like there's the drift and then there's the I'm just going to pretend that I don't see you anymore until you are no longer a part of my life, which we're not going to get into
Yeah,
that. But
that's not,
I don't
well,
that
and that's
to
not the
me
same
that's not the
thing.
same thing. So I just want to clarify that though. Like I don't see that as the same thing. There's the natural drift and then there's the this is not a healthy relationship because for whatever reason, like we were talking a few minutes ago.
But no, I completely agree. I mean, I don't really like, I don't think I've ever had anyone in my life that I've been like, ooh, I don't want to see them. Actually, no, that's not true.
I think the ultimate reason some friendships stick is like not even like shared hardship, because I don't necessarily think that's a reason, because I've been through hard things with other people and hasn't stuck.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I think it's like a mutual understanding of like who you are, right? As a person. Because
Yeah.
I don't really have time to be like someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be around this person for 3 years. So you either like me how I am now or not.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think those are the ones that stick. It's like I can tolerate you for 3 years and we can hang out and because we kind of enjoy the same activities. But once we leave, like we're not going to
Yeah.
dislike each other. We're just not going to be super close people that talk all the time because
Yeah.
proximity and like similar interests is kind of the only like foundation our friendship is built on.
Right.
Yes. That's
Proximity
exactly
being
it.
a big thing, but like the ones that stick are like I genuinely like you as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and
like
it's not even
regardless
that
if it's
yeah, it's no matter what, I like you as a person, but also like I'm willing to help you and accept you as you grow and
Hmm.
yeah,
change. And I want to grow and change too. And so I think that that's like a really important element too.
yeah,
Yeah. But you hit it on the head, like the proximity thing. Like there's nothing wrong with having friendships that are literally based on proximity,
Hmm.
because
yeah,
that's how you survive, and that's so typical. But I think finding the people that you really draw close to, it you
yeah,
perfectly stated that. So
yeah. I mean, and
I
not that they're
agree.
superficial friends, but it's like, and if I was, I had to go to the hospital and my kids needed to go somewhere, friends that I know are proximity friends would absolutely help me out. I know that they would.
Right.
And I would trust them with my kids and we enjoy like each other's company, but it's not it's still surface. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
not like gonna be this like super deep relationship. Sam grew up in the same town for his whole life, right? Born, raised, forever. He has friends from like preschool. Okay, it's such a foreign concept to me. And people that knew him in high school or college, to see him now, they're like, they almost like don't believe it. Like you are a fundamentally completely different human being.
Totally different.
Yeah. Well, I think that happens to all of us.
I think it does happen to all of us to an extent, right? It's crazy because you change, and Sam's friendships have stuck, with his people that he's known since preschool, but they're so different. And like I would say he's far closer to people like military than hometown. Just the nature of what it is.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah,
it was interesting to hear from someone who like boomeranged,
Mm-hmm.
they're successful people. It's not that they're not successful and they're living in mom's basement. Like they have beautiful homes and like loving families and all the things. But he was just like, I've literally been doing the same thing for 3 years. Like,
it just, they have so much less change.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that might be it. Like, it's funny you say a friend from preschool, and I was like, Jessie from Here and There Boutique. I knew her. Like I think we went to preschool together. Her mom had a daycare. I went there for a while, but our sisters were friends, and like there was like a huge age gap. So like our sisters were friends, and then we, so we've known each other forever, and we weren't necessarily close. We've remained in contact and we talked, but her husband's in the Air Force, so we talk a little bit more and have that connection, and like the island thing, because they were in Guam and now they're going back to Japan, or they're going to Japan, but they're going to mainland. And so it's just like those little things. It's like, oh, well, yeah, we have that similar track. We grew up in the same place. We left, and we've, she's probably been back to visit. I don't.
I do have a friend from preschool, who ended up going through all of school with Wyatt because my preschool was in the town over. And then I knew her from preschool when she started dance in preschool, and she taught me. She would like come back to preschool from dance and she'd teach me like how to plie and whatever it was that she learned in dance that day. And then when I actually started dance later in grade school, then I ended up in her class. Like I asked if I could go there because I remembered that she was there. And then I have some friends from kindergarten, but it's funny because we've gone back. So then she ends up dating people from my high school and ended marrying somebody from my high school in the other town. And there's that like connection, but we haven't had a whole lot of personal connections like you have, but we have a lot of like web. So like through Wyatt, and then I dance with everybody from his school. So there's all this web. And when we've gone back the last couple of times, I ended up with a lot of people who apparently were following me on Facebook and Instagram with just like all of the posts I would make in Japan. And they were like, we love to follow. They weren't always posting, but they would make comments when they saw me again, or if I say certain things, they're like, we love watching all of your stuff, because they don't have that change. Like none of them are just going to get up and go to Japan. But anyway, we're just kind of bouncing around here at the end. But yeah, that's just one of those, like, I think Amelia kind of hit it on with all of that stuff, but also that change of not only proximity, but also the change you make as you change that proximity. I said change way too many times in that.
Change. But
Amelia,
it's true. I mean,
Amelia,
with
it's your
every
turn
move.
to change subject.
I can if you want. I can talk about my car.
Well, do the outro first, and then you can talk about your car.
Okay. Thank you for joining us today. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you never miss an episode by hitting the subscribe button and automatic download. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the Virtual Compound Podcast for more content and updates.
Subscribe!
Bye.
Bye.